All right, Elliot, how are you?
Very well, mate. Yourself?
It's come on the show. We've known each other for a while, and when you reached out and said you come on the show, I was really happy because I know you've had a bit of a background of hair and hairdressing and barbering, so I was quite keen to know what it was like for you as a young, in school. Sort of, I know.
No.
It's not all everyone's first career choice, is it? But I was hoping that anyone listening, anyone who might be in that situation now, what was it like for you when you decided to become a barber? Or how did you decide to become a barber?
I think it was in year 10 in school. When you go through that stage where you have to pick what you want to do for your work experience, I decided it was on I think it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. I finished school, and at the time, Dan, you'll remember this. There was a show called the Salon, and it had Adi Phelan and Paul Merritt, and they were like the two the main fellas on it. And I thought, wow, they're cool. I fancy a bit of that. Yeah. So I turned around, said to my dad, I said, I want to do hairdressing. He was like, well, if you want to do it, make sure that you go to the best place you can. So I went, right, that's it. So I'd done some research, and I got brought into me connections late. Well, it was connections. I don't know if they still do it anymore. I'm not sure. But I went to the advisor and I said, I want to do hairdressing. And she went, oh no, come on, you don't want to do that. I said, I do. I want to go to Toni Guy. So she went, oh, you are serious about this, aren't you? And I said, yeah. So I got me. I was there for 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, I got offered a Saturday job. So I worked the Saturday job there right the way through. And then I came to, obviously, when you leave school, I was playing football at the time. And they offered me a full-time apprenticeship. And I turned it down. So, and then when I eventually, after a couple of months after leaving school, I decided to go into hairdressing full-time. So I took an apprenticeship at a local salon. And I've done that. I went down the apprenticeship route.
Nice. So what was it like then, sort of, that moment of realising you wanted to be in the hair industry? What was the sort of initial thought about that?
Yeah, obviously, when I see the local hairdressers from especially in where I'm from, they're always they're always pretty cool and they look pretty smart, and I thought, I fancied a bit of that, definitely.
Yeah, interesting, because one of the things that I obviously know about you is that
Thank you.
You're very talented. I know that for sure. What at that moment, obviously, when you took the apprenticeship over playing football, what was the reaction like?
Very positive. From your family? My dad, my mum, very supportive. They still are now. And it was. I was a bit nervous about telling them, but no, they've been extremely supportive from when I first wanted to do it, even till now. And my brother and my sister, they're very supportive, and my girlfriend also. She's my biggest fan. Yeah.
Good. That's good. I'm sure you have, man.
Scary.
Tell me about your first day.
Very scary. What, in my work experience or my apprenticeship? My first day in my apprenticeship?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously work experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell me about your work experience for sure, because I'm sure there's people doing work experience. So yeah, tell me about your first day at your work experience.
Wow, it was number one. I was surrounded by loads of beautiful looking women, which was great at the age of 15. So that was a bonus. But yeah, it was like at the time, Toni Guy, it's still a massive company, but it was at that time, it was the place to go for your haircut. It was the place to work. It was, even now, there's still a massive brand, and it was like walking into a party. Do you know what I mean? You had really cool people, people that worked there full time. Even the apprentices, all the way up to the stylists and the colour technicians, and stuff like that, and it was amazing. I literally, my first day, I went, this is what I want to do, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, I done it for 2 weeks.
So you did your for that 2 weeks?
And yeah, and then at the end of the 2 weeks, I got off the Saturday job. So that was cool. So when a lot of my friends were going out, going to the park and all that, I was, staying in on Friday, and I was going to work on the Saturday. I was working from 8:30 till 5:30, for not a lot of... Pardon? Yeah, you had a bit of a break. It all depended on how busy and what time of year it was. If I was still doing it now in December, it was, full on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, it's good that you said that, because, lunch breaks for us is... I'd say it's
100%.
Wouldn't you say?
100%.
That's just any beginner barbers out there or hairdressers. Just remember, if you get a lunch break when you're an apprentice...
Oh, God, yeah.
You did very nicely. So, Saturdays, what was that like when you got... What was it?
Amazing.
The Saturday
I was quite, at that age, you're very, very cocksure yourself, very, confident, and all that. And, and I was made up. I was chuffed.
That's good.
So
you did the Saturday.
Wow. So must have been from, I think it must have been about 10 months, maybe a year, something like that. For not a lot of money either. I think it's about £15 a day. I think.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah. That's the same as
figures out. It was all right. It was all right.
But at that time, though, as well, you think to yourself, do you know what? Like, I'm getting 15 quid. I'm probably getting more than my mates are, because they're not even going to work. So, at the end of the month, it's not
at all. No, not at all.
15-year-old or a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different now, but, everyone's... It's not as much an Instagram to be having 15 quid to...
Yeah.
So, yes, you've done the Saturdays for a year, and then you obviously, you told us you turned the first opportunity down. What made you take?
Like I said, I was playing football. I was playing up in the Welsh on the coast up in North Wales. I was playing for a team in the Welsh Prem, and I wasn't getting a lot of money. And my dad turned around. He goes, "Listen, you need to think about what you want to do." And I said, "Right, I want to get into hairdressing." He goes, "Right, well, get yourself an apprenticeship then. Get yourself an apprenticeship." So I did. So I went to... I'm from Ellesmere Port, which is not far from where you are, and I went to the best salon in the area. I went there, and went in there with my best gear on, and asked to speak to the manager. Walked in, and I said, "Have you got any apprenticeship? Any jobs going?" And he said, "Yeah." So I went back the following week and started from there. And it was tough, hard work, really hard.
I mean, do you know what? Like, for someone of your age going into a shop to ask for a job, that's pretty confident, mate.
I wasn't I thought I've always been quite a confident person anyway. Like, you don't ask, you don't get. So that, so I thought, right, so I'd done what, if my dad told me to do it, I'd done it, and I went, right. So I didn't want to go back home without a job. So I went in there. Exactly. Yeah. So I did, and and so like at the time there was no social media back then. There was MSN, but that was about it. Like, so it was a case of, God,
days of MSN. I understand days. MSN.
Easy. That's the perfect word for it. Easy.
Yeah. Easy.
I know.
Oh, man, days. So you got the job.
Good, because I already had the experience from working in at Toni Guy. So the standards, like at Toni Guy, if it didn't move, you cleaned it. Simple as that. So and you had to make sure that all the stylists were, the clients had the coffee, the teas, coffees, the shop was immaculate, because they were paying a lot of money for the service, and and that gave me a good idea on how, even now, on how I work. There was a person that worked there and said to me, there was a dirty section, and he said, "Was you going to a restaurant and eating on a dirty table?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, don't expect for someone to pay a lot of money for a haircut and a cut and colour in a dirty section." So that's always stuck with me, that. So, yeah.
Really good advice. I love it when you get advice from somebody who's a bit wiser, a bit older than you, because I can give you one advice that I got, and it's stuck with me to this day.
Yeah.
I actually give it to other people. I moved from my traditional barbershop into this Liverpool city centre, and I remember one of the receptionists there saying, I remember I went in and I said, "Oh, is my customer here yet?" And she went, "Customer? It's clients. We call them clients."
It's true. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay. And you know what? It might have been harsh, it might sound different, but to me, I was like, oh, that's resonated with me, and that's what I've always told people, clients, ever since that day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You get that bit of feedback and a bit of, even though it's probably not, the standard advice, it's put into plain and simple.
Definitely, 100%. So I had that. So obviously I had, my experience doing that. So when I came into the salon when I started full time, it was a big shop. It was like 2 floors, and it was packed. It was absolutely ram-packed. The best in the area. It was, from the Tuesday all the way through till the Saturday, it was just jam-packed. And it was a great atmosphere. It was brilliant. And some of the stylists there's a stylist that works there now who's got on, and he's amazing. He's done really well for himself. And a lot of people that have worked there have gone on to open up their own establishments and stuff like that. So it was a great place to work, because there was a lot of different kind. There was like young, but then there was some senior members of staff as well. So you learn a lot of different things off each one of them. So it was a great atmosphere, and like I said, it was very similar to my work experience, because the music, the atmosphere. Oh no, it was super. It was really good. Really good. At the time, it was so hard, and all you wanted to do was literally get qualified as quick as you could, and just so you could be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So tell me a little bit about what you mean by hard.
Well, you had to walk around with a bottle of pledge and a duster in your hand half the time. Like I said, if it didn't move, you cleaned it. Product shelves. Just making sure that all the stylists' brushes were clean, the sections were clean, skirting boards were clean. You had to literally make sure that it was spotless. Absolutely spotless, and the clients were looked after as well, and shampooing clients, giving, really looking after them, because that was your time then, especially shampooing and stuff. When I think back now, I was like, oh, hey, just shampooing, but then it was like that was your time with the client to give them a good experience. So it was, it was hard, but now it's so different now. The apprenticeships, like it was 3.5, 4 years. It took to be a fully qualified hairstylist, or at the time where I lived, there was a option to do barbering. So it was just hairdressing.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. It was 2 years for me, and that was barbering only. And I never sort of done any ladies or hairdressing.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. And it's quite funny actually, because it sounds a very simple apprenticeship to mine. Even though it's 2 different industries nowadays. It's quite interesting. I mean, the bottle of that can of pledge. I used to smell.
Honestly, it's true. You literally pledge. Oh, what's your other Brasso? Because we had a Brasso step. We had to Brasso the step as well. That's him,
Mr. Sheen.
Mr. Sheen.
What, mate? I'm telling you about Mr. Sheen. So oh my God, I made the the biggest mistake that you could possibly make when you're around sharp objects. So what I did once was I was cleaning the floor, and I'd mopped it, and then I used to dry it off with towels, like walk. You used to
walk it through,
walk with the towel, through, dry it off quickly before anyone came in. And then me thinking it was obviously I've just polished wooden shelves, so I thought I'll polish wooden floors. And mate, I tell you, it was the. Everyone had like leather bottom shoes on as well, so no grip whatsoever. Oh my god, I got bollocking for that. Yeah, I should never go off on my own. I should always just follow the rules.
Definitely.
Stick to.
There was one shop I worked in where you actually had the product shelves, and you had to leave an inch gap in between each product. So, you'd come over, the gentleman who owned the salon, and he'd literally put his thumb in between each one and go, take them all down. He'll go, do that again. And you've just done. He's put his thumb in between each product, like rest it on, like in between each one, and go, right, do them again. You're like, oh, wow. Saying things under your breath.
Oh yeah. I was a master of I could have done like puppeteering, or you know what I mean. I have like a little puppet because I could talk so well. Like what do they call it? Ventriloquists. I could have been a ventriloquist. The amount of swearing I used to do. Sorry. That's what I mean. It's little things like that though. As much as it's at the time, it's a real pain in the arse. It's teaching you lessons, isn't it? It's teaching you how a shop should look. That's their identity.
Exactly,
their products, even though they're spaced out to exactly an inch, that's something that makes him run smoothly in his own mind in the shop, right?
Yeah, because a lot of the people that we worked with, they've done exactly the same thing. So they. I think it's like what's called like a rite of passage. So I think you have to go through that, and you always say to yourself, I'm guilty of it. I always said to myself when I was when I was an apprentice, saying I'd never treat the assistants that are sometimes I'm worse now. It's like, I'm like, but it's like, there's a lad who I work with now, and we've worked together for a long time since we were we're a similar age. So, a long, good 12, 13 years. And, even now we speak to our apprentice now and we say, if I'd love him to go back to our day for a week, see how we got on. He'd eat it. But it's character building, I think. It's character building.
I'm all for that, cleaning toilets and all that. As though people feel, especially nowadays, it's very demeaning. As far as I know from what I remember, people come into the job now and they are expecting to cut hair. Yeah. And like you said, you don't cut hair for a while. Can you tell me what was I know you've talked about all the good things in terms of the atmosphere and things like that. What were the negative things about being a junior? What in your mind?
Negatives. The wage wasn't great. The wages weren't superb, but I think it's a little bit different now. I started my apprenticeship when I first started 18 years ago, so it's a bit different now. Negatives. Long days. Sometimes you get spoke to, not greatly, but you just took it on the chin. You just went, but negatives. I was really lucky from where I worked, that the training system was superb. So, the level of training that I did receive, and not only what I received, it was out of hours as well. So it was when the salon closed, a member of the staff would take us on, would do a model night. I don't know if they do them anymore, but we used to do model nights, and we had to get our own models in. My poor mother, she had to come in and get when I first started. I mean, me dad and my brother and my sister, they were great, and obviously family friends and stuff. But the level of training that I did receive, I didn't appreciate it at the time. But now, looking back, I was so fortunate that I did get the level of training that I did get. Really lucky.
Yeah. Now, when we touched on that just a few moments ago, when we said about the length of time it takes to train. Do you think that should still be applicable? Do you think it should still be applicable?
I think it all depends on the individual. I think, because some people, it took me a long time to be able to get my head around certain things. So I think just going, oh, you go on, you're all right. I think, you have to be able to know and understand why and how, and be able to do it consistently. Because I remember, I'll get back to, when I first started, I'd done blow dries for a long time. And for the life of me, I couldn't do a blow dry, saved my life. And I was doing it over and over and over again. And there was a couple of other, walking around like Diana Ross, massive hair. And it was, it was such a, it was frustrating because I wasn't naturally good at it. But I tried and tried and tried and tried, and don't get me wrong, I tried to run before I could walk. I thought I was the next Nicky Clark when I was 17, mate. And sometimes you have to have a bit of a, knocking down a few pegs. But yeah, it was tough, and there was a lot of and there was a few girls who I worked with, and they were literally just flying through when I was there, stagnant. Why can't I do it? Getting frustrated, because it's like anything in life. Even now, if I do something, I want to be the best I can at it. So it was a couple of years of being very frustrated. But but the people that I did do my training with, they were very patient and supportive as well.
That's brilliant, because I think that's what you really need, isn't it? I think patience is a virtue.
Oh yeah,
it's not something that we're all. I'm not. I mean, I'm probably more patient than I've ever been now because I've got children.
Right.
But I think, and I'm sure people could probably say this about me. I was very impatient to be nice.
Yeah.
I definitely found it was a bit like yourself. I wanted to run before I could walk. And do you think that's because what I'm hearing? I think when you said about getting into hairdressing, it was from watching the salon with ABV.
Yeah.
I think that's why you were so impatient, because of that.
Yeah,
your inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. That was what I was striving to be. That's what I like. And at the time, I don't know if Hairdressers Journals, remember that, Dan?
Yeah, gotcha.
They still sell it, but at the time, that was our only source of inspiration we could get. So I'd be there flicking through, and I'd see all these really cool people, men and women, doing all these amazing things with hair, and I was thinking, I want to do that, but I couldn't even hold a pair of scissors. I couldn't do it, but it was having that, and even the people that I work with as well, seeing them create some amazing hair, it was like I just wanted to do that, but I needed to take a step back and go, right, you need to do this first. You need to take, one step at a time.
Yeah, definitely. So that is interesting. I think when I was a bit, I can relate so much to what you're saying here.
Yeah.
I remember I used to go to Salon International, and I used to see the guys on the wall artistic stage, like Simon Shaw. I want to do that. I want to be on that stage. And I'd only just started in the shop, but I think when you're inspired so much by somebody or a group of people,
it's not a bad thing, though, is it? It's not a bad thing, is it?
I think you want to. I think again, it's run before you can walk. It's something you've got to pace yourself with, and take your time. But it's hard. When you're in it, it's so hard.
It is.
Them times. Do you know them sort of frustrating times you were talking about? Like when you said your colleagues were going on and progressing quicker than you.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to quit?
Not that. Be honest. I think when I went on the shop floor to do, there was times where I did struggle. There were certain things I couldn't do very well at all. Hence why I took I made the transition over into the men's side of it, which we'll probably cover shortly.
Got that in a minute, actually, as well, mate. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, yeah. But yeah, there were certain things I couldn't do, like hair up. Honestly, I couldn't get my head around it. But I could do it, but I wasn't happy with women coming into me to get it done. There was certain things, like there was good things I was good at, and there was things that I wasn't good at, and and that was frustrating. And then there was times where I was thinking, "Oh, do you know what am I doing?" And I wanted to be like I said to you before, I wanted to be the best. If I do something, I want to be the best I can at it. And there was times, probably early on when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's anything wrong with having them thoughts of going to quit.
No, not at all.
It's human nature, and if you don't enjoy something, you think to yourself, right, I'm off. Which I think, touching on that, you transitioned over to barbering, right? So
that's right, yeah.
Do you think you transitioned over because you were starting to not enjoy hairdressing, or what was it?
A lot of my clients were men. So I had a lot of gent clients. I obviously had my friends coming in also, but I enjoyed I'm not saying like the state, but with women's hair, if it's long, you can dress it out, you can blow dry it, you can tongue it, you can do that. But with men, there's no room for error.
Yeah.
If you take that too short, that's it. And it's a lot of it. A lot of it is precision work, very very sharp. Creating that really strong shape. And also, obviously, when I like my football, I like my golf, I like my boxing and stuff like that. So I could, lads coming in, we could have a chat and stuff. And then when I was 21, I went to college and done my barbering qualification. Then I worked in barbershops. Wow. I went into the men.
That's crazy because, going back to college, that must have been how did you sort of take that in mentally, like having to go back to retrain to something? How did you feel about that?
It was okay because obviously I'd done me hairdressing previous, so I had a lot of things I could literally just switch over, and I felt like, no disrespect to anyone that was on the course, because I had that initial, because I had such high standard of training.
Yeah.
I went through my barbering qualification relatively quickly. So I'd done that, and I got that done pretty quick. And then I got my VCTC qualification. Yeah. So I got that, and then I started working in barbershops then.
Wow.
Yeah.
So first day on the shop floor in the barbers, what was that like?
Scary, because I think it was my second client, but at the time it was a lot of clipper cuts. Oh, yeah. So it was like a 2 on top and a 0 on the sides. And obviously with me doing my me hairdressing, I wasn't allowed to touch a pair of clippers. It was all scissor over comb. It was all scissor over comb or feather razor. So it was, the only time we could use the clippers were to go around someone's ears.
Wow.
Or so it was all very much, and then to blend in from a 0 into like a 2, it was a bit like, ooh, wait, bit nerve wracking.
Like a
bit nerve wracking.
Where'd you start? What to do? Totally alien when you're doing something like that. Because I think transitioning from and you know what? I'll be honest with you. I think back then, was there any? Did you have any worries about telling people you used to be a hairdresser? Different to now?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, different now. Yeah, God, yeah. Back then, yeah. There was, sometimes he's not cutting me hair. He's a hairdresser. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I did get that a couple of times, but you just take it up the chin. Yeah. You just get on with it, like
skin.
Yeah, let's get on with it.
Mate, that's what it is. That's where the character building comes from.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, but then, I'd want them to sit in my chair just to prove to them that I can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It made me more determined to go, do you know what? I want him to sit in my chair next, and then I want to do it. Then
that's a really good attitude to have, because I think that could make or break some people, though. I reckon if you were if you weren't confident enough in yourself, or maybe you did have a few, we've all got insecurities. I mean, bloody hell, you're human.
Oh yeah.
If you got that in times, and then you see the other barbers as they're saying that to you, or the other barbers are even going, he's a hairdresser, and you don't want to go to him. That must be horrible. That must be, you have to really make a joke out of that to then continue with the job in hand, which is hard when you've got already got them thoughts going through the mind anyway. So it's good that you managed to just take that on the chin and just roll with it. And, before you know it, an hour's gone by and everyone's forgotten about it, right? That's just the way, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely.
So barbering took you, how quickly would you say you transitioned over? How up until you got fully confident like you were in the ladies?
Couple of years, definitely. Couple of years, especially with the clipper work.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Especially with clipper work and stuff like that. It was, it took a lot of. Obviously, in college we covered, clipper work and stuff like that. But then, obviously, over time, it was all, a lot of like zeros and all that sort of stuff. It was just literally getting stuck in, just getting thrown in the deep end and getting on with it, and just, really, practicing. Like even then, there wasn't much inspiration apart from books or things like that. But then obviously Facebook started coming into play and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Would you say you've during them sort of first 2 years? Would you say you took some inspiration from the hairdressing as well? Is there anything you've still done, like point cutting, for example? Was that something you transitioned over and things like that?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, I wasn't trained to use texture scissors. They're called people call them thinning scissors. I was never taught to use them. I was always taught to either point cut, slide cut, or use a feather razor. That's what I was always taught. So going from a lot of barbers at the time, they just used to run texture scissors through the hair. I was more point cutting, slide cutting, and stuff like that, which took a lot more time. But yeah, so a lot of my hairdressing techniques, even now, I still use, I use to this day. And they've especially now with like a lot of disconnection and stuff like that, and my training, it was, give me a really good understanding on men's hair.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, if you think about the haircuts that are around now, and we're chatting in December 2021, haircuts that are now, I don't know a single style that you probably don't need to use a hairdryer for, or some elements of blow drying nowadays. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Do you know
yeah.
I always think back to that, like the barbering, the sort of blow up of the barbers, right? It was pretty much done by two hairdressers of the Scoring lads, right, over in Rotterdam.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they've done exactly the same thing as you, and they were contributing and almost changing the scene of having like the skin fade with the pompadour. But if you look how many techniques they use that are ladies, everything through horizontal section, blow drying, everything they do is pretty much the way you would learn doing a hairdressing degree, right? The clipper way.
Yeah.
So I think the transition over what you've done is, I mean, for right now, brilliant. You must have so much more knowledge by doing that and being so much more confident nowadays because you studied an extra little bit of the industry. So I think it's a good idea in the end.
Cool. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like even now, I'm still always. You never stop learning. That's the thing. I'm always learning. Always learning. I take a lot of my inspiration from Sue. A lot of my inspiration comes from there. The way they approach hair, the way their aesthetic, the way they handle hair, and their ethos on hair. Not just men, but also women's hair.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, me personally, I think you've been very, very lucky to get the training that you got, mate. Honestly, I really do, because what from just the memories you've got of it as well is, I mean, it's amazing to hear, because not only are you remembering the training you had, you're also utilising that own training within yourself as well. You're still doing so much of that today, 18 years later, which is incredible. And I think there's food for thought there for any beginner barbers listening, anyone thinking of transitioning over to barbering or hairdressing. I think listen to Elliot's sort of transition from school to the hair industry, because I think that's a very good way of doing it. And that's only just my opinion, but I do think that's a very good way of doing it. Thanks, Elliot, mate, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you, mate, as well.